Welcome to your stock request for the 17th of May. I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director of Fairmont Equities. Today we're going to look at Lendlease, Domino's Pizza, Link, ECX and RFF. If you have a request, send it through for next week. Just email me at mail@fairmontequities.com, and any advice here is general only. Also, just make sure you share this video on social media. So looking at Lendlease, this is the daily chart. This peak was in 2017. So I guess on a bad set of results, they've fallen back. The low in February managed to recover. What I've liked is that the share price after this fantastic jump has managed to consolidate just under this previous high, which is good. So basically washes out any of the potential selling, and now it looks like it's pretty much broken through from there. So it should continue to rally from here. It should take out this high. This is what it looks like on a weekly chart. So I'm expecting it to continue to head higher. And if I just zoom out a bit more, maybe we'll move to a monthly. I guess we'll be targeting this previous peak here, which isn't too far away. So that's near $20. So I'm expecting Lendlease to, for the moment, move up towards those levels. So Domino's, short term it's looking good. So we've had this low in March, a nice impulsive rally, fairly corrective pullback to retest that, and then it's bounced off it nicely, formed a little sort of flag here within this candlestick, which is very positive, and then it's gapped up again. So this should continue to head higher. In the short term, I guess we'd be looking at, for an initial target, some very obvious resistance here at about $50. But just want to point out that longer term, if we look at the weekly chart, we could still see it looks, it still looks very ugly. So still we've got these lower lows and lower highs. So beyond a short-term trade, there's not enough here to suggest that it's entering an uptrend again. Okay, so we have Link administration, the weekly chart, previous low 2016. It's had a retest of that and bounced after the savage falls. So changes in the budget, the announcement had obviously caused the shares to drop quite a bit. The company did some analysis on how those budget changes could affect their earnings, and it doesn't look that bad. So they've managed to jump up for the time being. So it does look a bit oversold here. I mean, especially on the daily chart, quite a bit oversold. Volume on the way down, but also volume to pick it back up off that support. So ultimately what I think will happen is something similar to Macmillan Shakespeare back in 2013, when the Rudd government announced some changes out of the blue that would affect their business. Share price fell quite dramatically, and then after several weeks it managed to regain about half of those losses before using up a bit more time until I guess the market was comfortable with the stock again. So I think we'll see something similar here. We'll see a rebound, maybe back up to these sorts of levels, but it would take a while for the market to be comfortable with those proposed changes. Eclipse. So at first glance, the chart doesn't look too bad for the longer term. So if we look back over the last 2 or 3 years, we can see, first thing that jumps out at me is this sort of big move up here that took about 8 months, going from about 240 to 440. And then in the next year and a half, the market couldn't push it all the way back to 240. It's undergone this, I guess, very large consolidation. So the shares obviously fell away here in the last several weeks, below support, but I guess on the positive note, well, we can see that they have been quite oversold, so we might get I guess a bit of a bounce here. A lot of volume has come in at the low to lift it up off this level, so we could get a bit of exhaustion, so people just giving up on the company, even though the valuations are quite a bit higher than where it is at the moment. And also we've got a clear double bottom there, and we could see that on the daily chart, and it's still very clear on the weekly. So there's a lot to suggest that it should get we should see some sort of recovery from here. In terms of how high it can go, I suppose there is some resistance around these sorts of levels, but it does look like it can bounce from here. And rural funds, RFF, I'll just move over to a daily chart. Very bullish sort of price action here, and then it started to correct back, so I like to look at the timing of the move. So we've seen a quick move up, and then the sell-off has been much more corrective compared to the move up. The only problem is it's starting to just get a little bit too deep here, so we're coming back to retest this low. That's okay. I mean, it could bounce, but it's just a shame it has come back so deeply. So it just means that we really do need to watch this support level. I think if it breaks that, you know, we could see levels probably back to this gap over here. So we could see another, I guess, several % downside. So we just need to watch this one. Okay, well, that's it for today. As always, if you have a request, send it through and we'll cover it next week.